What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. On this channel, we talk about so many different types of games, guys, but one genre that we don't talk about much is the mobile genre, mobile games in particular. And in this segment of the show, guys, I want to talk about what I believe is one of, if not the most underrated mobile game ever created, in my personal opinion. We'll kind of break down why I think it's really underrated, and was that, just us not giving it a chance? Was it actually, just the developers, the publishers' fault for that? What could it be? And that's what we're going to get into right here with Command & Conquer Rivals, guys. Command & Conquer Rivals is a real-time strategy game, guys, on mobile devices. And I believe that this is the most underrated mobile game ever made. And I'll explain it here in a couple of parts. Number one, guys, I feel that we as players and just gamers in general never gave Command & Conquer Rivals a chance, simply because the announcement that came out from EA that Command & Conquer Rivals was going to be being released without there being, real hope for another true continuation of the Command & Conquer franchise. I think a lot of people were very upset about that. We're really upset about the announcement of Rivals, but not with the announcement of a brand new Command & Conquer game on PCs and things of that nature. And we see this, guys, that obviously, this has something to do with just gaming in general. We're still in the very early years of gaming, mobile games, PC games, console games. We're in the early years still. A lot of these companies are still trying to figure it all out. And obviously, now they know, look, you don't want to announce a mobile game without something else, at least right now. Maybe one day mobile games will be, so huge in popularity that they'll be able to just announce a mobile game and not get a ton of backlash. But we saw this also with Blizzard when they announced Diablo Immortal, but didn't announce a true sequel to Diablo, which of course they did later on, but people were very upset about the announcement of Diablo Immortal without the announcement of Diablo 4. And so I think there was something similar here with Command & Conquer Rivals, where they announced Rivals. And from the trailers and everything, it got me really excited about it, but there was so much backlash, and that really hurt this game as a whole, to say the least. And what I'm going to say, guys, is that Command & Conquer Rivals, when I downloaded the game and started playing it, and I've played a number of different, mobile games, Clash of Clans to Call of Duty Mobile, to all kinds of different mobile games that I've at least try out. I install them and try them out. And this one, though, felt really different. And it's probably because of my love for StarCraft that I really enjoyed this style. And the reason why I really liked it was because it's this very fast-paced environment that is very easy to understand, but it's really hard to master to a certain extent. I mean, Command & Conquer Rivals, I've always told people that if you're into real-time strategy games, you would absolutely really appreciate Command & Conquer Rivals. Now, sure, was it riddled with a lot of different, microtransactions and things of that nature? Absolutely. But what I will say is that you can still play the game. It is playable without buying into all the microtransactions and buying coins and things of that nature in order to upgrade your different units and all of that. I think that this game, to me at least, was made really well. But the problem, though, is now, looking at it in 2021, Command & Conquer Rivals really suffers from not really necessarily having a development team that is supporting it, because EA really isn't supporting Command & Conquer Rivals, and it's a real shame. And that's why I say it's a really underrated mobile game. I think this is easily one of, if not the most underrated mobile game ever created, because it had so much potential, in my opinion, to be something really special for a lot of us who are into real-time strategy games and such, and this being a real-time strategy on a mobile device. Where it had these easy concepts, but certainly was difficult to master, especially when you got up to the higher levels of the different leagues that are in Command and Conquer Rivals. But I think what we can learn from Rivals is that you can't announce a mobile game right now, at least right here, right now. You can't announce a mobile game of a major IP and just announce that alone. You need to announce that alongside a true continuation of that franchise. If Command & Conquer Rivals would have been announced next to a brand new Command & Conquer game that was going to come out on PC and, even maybe on consoles, then I think people would have certainly accepted Command & Conquer Rivals for what it was. Similar to Diablo Immortal. If they would have announced Diablo 4 alongside Diablo Immortal, people would have been much more accepting of that. It's just a simple fact, when you're announcing it by itself, people have a certain way and have a certain feeling towards it, and I did as well. I didn't really like that they only announced Command & Conquer Rivals and not, a true continuation of the series. But, I think that certainly the Command & Conquer series will continue as we know it, certainly. But I think that the mobile game, it's just not really being, serviced and updated on a really huge, consistent basis. And I think it's really, that's something that's made the IP, or I should just say more so the mobile games, suffer in a major way. And it's really unfortunate, guys, because a lot of people didn't even give it a chance. And it's actually the best real-time strategy game I've ever played on, on a mobile device. I think it was very well made. And I enjoy it. I really do. But, let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, do you think that Command & Conquer Rivals is one of the most underrated games on mobile devices? What other games do you think are really underrated on mobile devices that people really never gave a true chance, didn't give those games a real chance to kind of shine and really have time to make an impact? And do you think it's more so on the developers? Do you think it's on just us as gamers not giving these games a chance? Or, do you think it's more so just people in general, the standards that people have for these games? Do you think that that really played into it? Because I think it was a little bit of everything, but I really believe that, EA thought that they were going to bring out a Command & Conquer continuation at some point, but they thought that they didn't probably think about it, too much, that there's going to be a ton of backlash around the mobile side of things. But obviously they were certainly wrong with that. And I think now they've learned their lesson, and now they'll move forward. Same thing goes with other development companies out there. We look at the release of Call of Duty Mobile, that comes out, but there are also other Call of Duties that are coming out every single year, main installments, so people are much more accepting of that. And look at how big Call of Duty Mobile is. It's, if you can make it work, it's a beautiful thing. But let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, what do you all think about Command & Conquer Rivals and just mobile games, that don't really get a chance or are very underrated? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Command & Conquer Rivals content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Hitman and this franchise moving forward, guys. And you guys can check out all of my Hitman content here on the YouTube channel. But today, guys, in this segment of the show, I want to talk about everything that we know about the up-and-coming title Hitman 3. And I know many of us are very excited about this. I want to break it all down, and then we can talk about it. And I would love to have a real conversation with you guys in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article written by Anthony Nash of Windows Central, step into the shoes of Agent 47. We've known for some time that IO Interactive was working on the follow-up to its latest Hitman reboot series. Now, though, we have our first official look at Hitman 3 and know much more about the game that will be launching early next year on Xbox Series X and many other platforms. The final game in the rebooted Hitman trilogy will once again put players in the shoes of Agent 47 and is set to feature a ton of different locations, disguises, and crazy ways to take down targets, as well as likely featuring some boosts in performance thanks to its releasing on next-gen platforms. So that's really exciting, guys. So what is Hitman 3? Well, Hitman 3 is the latest installment of the long-running Hitman series and the third entry in the trilogy of rebooted games under IO Interactive. Hitman 3 will also conclude the World of Assassination trilogy assembled over the recent years, which is really interesting to me, guys. You kind of wonder, how are they going to, finish up this trilogy, and how is it going to kind of move us into the next generation of Hitman, or are they going to be done altogether with the Hitman franchise? That is going to be a really interesting question that obviously we can't answer right now. So far, we've only received one trailer for Hitman 3, and in addition to this trailer, IO Interactive also showed off a very brief gameplay trailer centered around what players can do in Dubai. So what I'll say, guys, if you haven't seen the announcement trailer, you haven't seen the brief gameplay trailer, I would check those out. It looks like a really cool game, and I'm sure many of you who are big Hitman fans have already seen it and are probably pretty excited about it. I would love to know, though, if you're not excited about it from what you've seen so far, let me know why in the comment section down below. So what's the gameplay like? Well, much like the previous two Hitman entries, Hitman 3 we'll see players figuring out exactly how they want to eliminate a target and executing it in the very best way possible. In a blog post explaining more of the game, Tavis Barber, the senior community manager at IO Interactive, spoke about gameplay, saying that it encourages players to explore and interact with the game world in new ways that will reward them in future playthroughs, which is really interesting to say the least. Now, as far as the locations go, guys, there's a lot of locations here. We're talking you're going to be able to go to the United Emirates, United Kingdom, China, Germany, Argentina, Romania, some really cool locations here that I think we should all be pretty excited about as well. Now, will Hitman 3 support 4K and 60 frames per second? So with the release of both the Xbox Series X, S, and the PS5, fans may be wondering if Hitman 3 can properly harness the power of the new consoles. Thankfully, it seems as if they will be, as a new video released this week by IO shows off what the Glacier engine can do. According to the video, Hitman 3 is capable of having up to 300 NPCs active at once, and next-gen consoles and PC players will be able to enjoy the game in 4K resolution, 60 frames per second, and in HDR, which is really cool, guys. Ultimately, from what we've seen so far about the game, as far as from a graphical standpoint, it looks really good. And I think hopefully it's able to translate over to the, Xbox as well as the PlayStation. I think that, with these new consoles, I think they definitely will be powerful enough to run this game at a proper rate. Hopefully there's not like bugs and glitches. We've seen that happen just recently, of course, with the Cyberpunk 2077 release. This game doesn't seem like it's going to be quite as big and massive in scope as that of Cyberpunk 2077, but still, from what we've seen so far, it looks really, really good. Now, here's the interesting question that people in the community have been talking about. Does Hitman 3 support VR gameplay? So virtual reality, guys. During one of Sony's recent State of Plays, IO Interactive revealed that the Hitman trilogy, including the upcoming Hitman 3, would be playable in VR. According to a blog post shortly after, IO Interactive confirmed that Hitman 3 would be fully playable in VR, with VR support for every location from all three games coming to the series at some point. Currently, VR support will only be available in Hitman 3, with no plans to make a VR update for Hitman 1 or 3 in the works. So, what's interesting to me, guys, is that you're going to have VR or be able to play this game in VR. And, I've already said this many times. My one criticism of virtual reality or VR is when games are made specifically for VR and not put onto, consoles and PC and such. So an example of this would be Half-Life Alyx. I thought Half-Life Alyx was great, but at the same time, I would have loved to be able to play it on console or play it on PC. I think it would have really opened up just so much more opportunity for the game to get exposure and such. It forced everyone to get VR headsets, and many people didn't have them, and some people didn't buy the VR headset because they didn't want to necessarily make that big purchase to play Half-Life Alyx. So on the flip side of that, I've always said that have a VR game. If you're going to make a game, in virtual reality, also have it available on consoles and on PC and such, so that those who don't want to play it on VR can play it on consoles. And that seems like what they're doing here with Hitman 3, and I am 100% behind that. In a brand new Developer Insights video released, IO Interactive dove more into what Hitman 3 on VR might look like. The video also showcases the developers using a DualShock 4 controller to move about, which is something that senior game designer Eskil Mole confirmed in a Reddit AMA held this week. While the company hasn't ruled out move support in the future, it seems that the company is happy with the hybrid control scheme on which they've landed. So it'll be really interesting, guys, to see, obviously the bullet points, the point of view, the new ways to play, the deeper immersion, and the blending in. Should be very interesting. Now, a big question here also is, what is the story, and what's the story so far here in Hitman 3? Not too much is known about the story in Hitman 3 so far, but IO Interactive did detail some on their website. Hitman 3 will be the dramatic conclusion to the world of the Assassination Trilogy. According to the studio, and will take players all over the world to 6 sandbox locations. Like Hitman 2, the newest game will launch in its entirety, meaning players won't have to wait for new chapters to release to finish the story. More information from IO Interactive also suggests that Agent 47s will be joining forces with long-lost ally Lucas Gray. According to the developers, their ultimate mission is to take down the partners of Providence, but things that happen along the way will force them to adapt. With this being the final entry in the trilogy, expect IO Interactive to pull out all the stops when it comes to delivering a thrilling conclusion. So I think that would be great. I want to see a great conclusion here, guys. Obviously, that's huge when we're talking about, when you're finishing up a trilogy. I'm just wondering, when we say a thrilling conclusion, do we want that to mean conclude the trilogy and conclude the franchise as a whole? Or are we saying conclude just this portion of the story, and maybe, Agent 47 passes the torch on to another agent, or whatever the case might be, and there will be a new Hitman or spin-off, franchise in the making? That's something that I'm really interested to find out here with Hitman 3. Now, is Hitman 3 coming to Xbox One and PS4? Yes, not only is Hitman 3 coming to next-gen consoles, but it will also be releasing on current generation platforms as well. To make things even easier for players, IO Interactive has confirmed that players who own the original 2 games can import all 20-plus locations into Hitman 3, and if you play the entire trilogy within the Hitman 3, your progression will carry over. For example, if you unlock an item in Dubai, you can bring it with you to Paris for another mission, which is really awesome. And then Hitman 2 weapon progress and unlocks will also be carried over to Hitman 3, meaning that players who have done a ton of work in the past won't have to worry about not having the best gear when Hitman 3 launches. So that's really awesome, guys. My one question, though, is it coming out on Xbox One and PS4. That's great. I'm excited about that, but I hope that there's not a bunch of bugs and glitches like I was stating earlier with Cyberpunk 2077, massive problems. I'm hoping that we don't see that here with Hitman 3 as it comes out on the the older gen consoles, being Xbox One and PS4. So what's the release date? So Hitman 3 is currently set to release on January 20th, 2021. When it does launch, it will be available on Xbox Series X, Xbox One, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC. So I gotta say, guys, I'm really, really excited about, Hitman 3 and what this could look like. I mean, we're not gonna have to wait very long to get our hands on a copy of this game, and I'm really excited to see what the conclusion of it's going to be. I would love to see multiplayer co-op modes. There's so many different things I would love to see, even if they're added later on, kind of like what's happened with Cyberpunk 2077, or what's happening even with The Last of Us Part 2, adding multiplayer and all of that, just to kind of keep you coming back to the game over and over again. I have a lot of high hopes, guys, for Hitman 3. And I am very excited about it. I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out and as we start talking about spoilers and things of that nature after this game releases. I'm really excited about it. But let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, are you guys really excited about Hitman 3? And what are you guys hoping to see in this game? And what do you hope to see in the future of the Hitman franchise? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Hitman 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Many people think that if you love Call of Duty, you must hate Battlefield, and if you're a Battlefield fan, you must hate Call of Duty, because there seems to be this underlying rivalry between these two juggernaut franchises. And to me, guys, I think that the beautiful thing about gaming is that you can love all of these different types of games for what they are. And for me personally, I love Battlefield. I also love Call of Duty. Call of Duty is, of course, one of the greatest games ever created, in my opinion. But Battlefield still holds a place where if I want to play a different type styled shooter, I play Battlefield with the large maps and large scope and things of that nature. I can go to Battlefield and play that. If I want to play the very fast-paced style, that's where I go for Call of Duty. And with Battlefield, there's been a lot of talk about what this upcoming title was going to look like. But now, guys, we're starting to get further information, and I want to talk in this segment of the show about everything that we know so far about Battlefield 6 and what we can kind of expect here in the future. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, written by Nicholas Sakadelis of Charlie Intel, here's everything we know about the upcoming Battlefield game from DICE, codenamed Battlefield 2021. So Battlefield 2021 is still a work in progress at DICE, and since Battlefield 5's release in 2018, DICE has been relatively quiet about the next Battlefield game. It's no secret that Battlefield 5 couldn't keep up with competitor Call of Duty after DICE announced that sales projections were 1 million short of their goal for the game. In March of 2019, Battlefield released their Battle Royale Firestorm, which failed to compete anywhere close to the likes of Fortnite and PUBG. 1 year later, Call of Duty Warzone released, being the final nail in the coffin towards Battlefield's BR mode. Our first glimpse for Battlefield 2021 began at EA Play 2020, where we saw some demo footage of a technical test conducted at DICE, which, guys, honestly, it was I gotta say, the graphics and things of that nature are looking pretty good for Battlefield 6. I feel like Battlefield and EA have done a really good job from a graphical perspective of these Battlefield games. I really like the graphics, and it's unfortunate that, the Battlefield, Battle Royale Firestorm, really, it's unfortunate that really couldn't, kind of gain some ground and kind of become one of those big BR titles out there. But, honestly, I think that there's always an opportunity with Battlefield 6 that they could reintroduce a new Battle Royale or something of that nature, similar to what Call of Duty did when they had Blackout. That didn't necessarily work out. Then when you come out with Warzone, it becomes this, smash success. So I think that here with another BR, they could certainly do that with Battlefield 6, but that's another topic for another day. The future of Battlefield. In the tech demo, we saw the developers tease that they were improving their vision of creating large-scale battles. It's unclear if this is Battlefield 6 footage or just a technical test utilizing Battlefield 5's assets. Just because the soldiers were in World War II era gear does not mean the game will take place during the Second World War. It's possible it was just using old assets or was created to throw fans off. Now, I believe, guys, what Battlefield 6, what they need to do, this being EA, is go back to kind of, that modern or even futuristic shooter, because they've done World War I, World War II, and I feel like those two eras have been done so much in video games, done so much in movies. You got to kind of go with modern or a little bit into the future. I'm not talking about jetpacks and stuff like that, but I say, a little bit into the future might not be a bad idea for a Battlefield game. With that being said, we now have good news regarding the release of Battlefield 2021. In an EA earnings call in September, CEO Andrew Wilson revealed that the next Battlefield game would release in holiday of 2021. Apparently, internal playtests have been ongoing and were reported as well received and successful. The game will be centered around the power of next-gen consoles and will bring us battles on a larger scale than ever before. Hopefully, the next installment of Battlefield brings the franchise back to its glory days. In its absence, games like Call of Duty and Fortnite have dominated the shooter market with their Battle Royale modes. And it might be refreshing for Battlefield to make a comeback in the next year with a large-scale multiplayer shooter. And I agree with that. Look, I was not really impressed with Battlefield 5, to be quite honest. I thought Battlefield 1 was pretty good, and I think that was around that time, guys, when Battlefield 1 came out. That was also the time that Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came out, and so people were so sick of the futuristic, jetpack games in Call of Duty that a lot of people moved over to Battlefield 1, and then once they started, as time went on, Call of Duty kind of was going back to boots on the ground and such, so people started moving back, and then Battlefield 5 came out, and that was not what people were hoping for. I think people were hoping from Battlefield 1 to go to, modern day or, somewhat futuristic, and they didn't. They did World War II with Battlefield 5, and now moving into the next Battlefield game, Battlefield 6, as we think it's going to be called. I'm just hoping that they go into at least a modern day game, because I loved Battlefield 3 was my favorite by far of all the Battlefield games. I would love to see them kind of go back to like something of that nature or that time period and such. And I think they could certainly do it, and it could be a smash success. I just think, though, that Battlefield needs to be Battlefield. Don't try to copy Fortnite. Don't try to copy Call of Duty. You can maybe take little things from those games, but, be your own game. Do your own thing. Do what you do best, and it should be successful because Battlefield has proven to be a very successful franchise up to this point. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, guys. I'm hoping to see more of that. If they do end up taking things from Call of Duty or Fortnite. What I noticed with Call of Duty and what Call of Duty did with like Modern Warfare, where there were some maps that they created that were much larger in scale, which was obviously taking things from Battlefield. What I'd like to see Battlefield do is take some things from Call of Duty, like the smaller maps, certainly have the bigger maps, but get some smaller maps where it's a little bit more fast-paced and see how that goes within the community. That could really get people intrigued. Take things from your competitors. If your competitors are taking things from you, why can't you take things from them as well that have worked for them? That would be what my thoughts would be about Battlefield 6 and what I think they should maybe do. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What should they do, guys, in Battlefield 6? Should they stick in the past? Should they go to the present, modern day, or should they go into the future a little bit with Battlefield 6? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Battlefield 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. For those of you who watched my Last of Us Part 2 review, you guys know that I absolutely loved this game. Overall, sure, there were things that I didn't enjoy about the game, but overall, I thought it was absolutely incredible, an unnerving experience unlike any I've ever played, and I just really enjoyed The Last of Us Part 2. And that leads me, though, guys, to the multiplayer, because one of my biggest issues with The Last of Us Part 2 releasing when it did was that it wasn't a finished game. Even though the campaign was finished, it wasn't a finished package. That being multiplayer has still not come out yet. And there's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumblings coming around about The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer. But I was very overly critical of Naughty Dog releasing the game without multiplayer, because what it does, guys, is after you beat the campaign, a lot of people just moved on to other games, myself included. After being the campaign a couple of times through, I've moved on to other games, and now The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer is kind of something of a distant memory that I didn't even realize that I totally forgot that it was even coming out. And I think that's a real problem, because you want to capitalize on all those people playing your game, and then after they're done playing the campaign, they can move right over to the multiplayer, which we didn't obviously get here. So where is the multiplayer? Where's the multiplayer of The Last of Us Part 2? We could even ask the question, where's the multiplayer for Cyberpunk 2077? Because this is starting to become a recurring theme amongst these developers, which I think is a really big problem. That's a conversation for another day. But let's talk about where is the multiplayer, and will the multiplayer have a battle royale mode, which is what a lot of people in the community are asking themselves. Let's talk about it. In an article written by Richard Warren of Game Rant, The Last of Us 2's faction multiplayer mode is still in development, and one has to ask if it will include the most popular multiplayer today, Battle Royale. The Last of Us 2 has been out for long enough, and Naughty Dog's focus has turned to the development of the game's factions mode. The studio has been hard at work on a standalone multiplayer offering for The Last of Us 2, and with over a year put into its development, it is odd that not much official info on the multiplayer project has released. However, there may be a good reason behind this. With The Last of Us 2's factions being a full-fledged standalone release, it could safely be assumed that factions will be far larger and have much more content this time around. That new content could contain a Battle Royale offering, if only due to the genre's popularity, placing splinter groups of survivors in a massive battle for territory. A Battle Royale would be an interesting direction for The Last of Us 2 multiplayer to go in, and there are a fair number of reasons to believe it could and could not be releasing as part of the standalone factions offering. So I'll put this out here, guys. Obviously, we haven't seen anything yet, but if you were to ask me, do you think The Last of Us 2 should have a Battle Royale mode? I would say no. Not that I don't think it could be, popular. I just don't think it really works within this universe. I think games like Fortnite, obviously, games like Call of Duty make a little more sense. If you're going to have factions, that's great, because that kind of was where the origins of multiplayer for The Last of Us. But I would really like to see them even kind of add on to that, but not so much in the way of, Battle Royale. I'd like them to come up with some of their own game modes, like similar, into Gears of War. I bring up Gears of War a lot, but Gears, guys, is a title that has, co-op modes where you can go up against waves and waves of enemies in Horde mode, and I think that would be really cool for The Last of Us Part 2, where you could team up with your friends and go up against waves and waves of different, clickers and all kinds of different creatures within The Last of Us world, and then you're able to set up traps and things of that nature. I think it could be really something cool in co-op, and then from a multiplayer perspective, having factions and maybe having some other modes outside of that. I just don't really think Battle Royale works necessarily with The Last of Us Part 2, even though you definitely could do it. And obviously we haven't seen anything, so who knows? Maybe it could work. I just would stay away from it just because there's so many other companies and different teams that are doing Battle Royale at this point. And I don't want to see it get so oversaturated. So why a Last of Us Battle Royale is unlikely. While the concept of Battle Royale set in the Last of Us universe is a tantalizing idea, the reality is that there is nothing to suggest that such a mode is being developed. While more The Last of Us content is on the way, a Battle Royale mode is not necessarily something that is going to happen. No evidence regarding the development of such a mode has come about despite several leaks, and it would be quite a leap for Naughty Dog to make if such a mode were to be released. After all, the original Factions mode in the first Last of Us game consisted of 4v4 gameplay with fairly small maps centered on small coordinate team fights, with even the smallest Battle Royale modes games having dozens of players on the map at a single time. The creation of such a mode would be a very different experience for Naughty Dog. So I do agree with that, to say the least. They kind of continue onwards with that, but I agree. But for me, it's more just, I don't think it really fits really great in this world. But like I said, we haven't seen, so maybe I'd be wrong. Maybe it would work out great. I don't know. Now, why it could happen, while there is no evidence behind a Battle Royale mode being made for The Last of Us 2, the concept should not be counted out entirely. Out of all the reasons to expect a Battle Royale when The Last of Us 2 multiplayer arrives, the most obvious is one of the most logical. Battle Royales are one of the most popular genres in gaming today, generating incredible amounts of revenue for the developers and publishers behind them. Capitalizing on that popularity while the genre is still hot makes perfect sense from a business standpoint, and beyond that, a Battle Royale mode is sure to please a large audience of gamers. With even a horror game like Resident Evil 8 supposedly getting a Battle Royale, it is hard to think of reasons for Naughty Dog to avoid the genre. And look, I agree with that sentiment. I do. I get what they're saying here. I just, I would like them to come up with some other creative ideas, outside of just, even Battle Royale. I think one thing that would be really great is to make the multiplayer 100% free to play for everybody, make factions free, or whatever modes they decide to bring out, make them free to play so that everybody can try them out. And that way you don't necessarily have to feel like you need to do a Battle Royale and make it free to play. I just think that to me, if I were doing it, Battle Royale does make sense from a business perspective because Battle Royale is still hot to this day. I just think this is an opportunity, since The Last of Us has tried over time now with the first 2 games. They've tried to be different in a number of ways. They don't always go with what's trendy or what's popular. They kind of do things a little bit different. I would like to see that translate here to the multiplayer. And with that, guys, what exactly could The Last of Us Battle Royale, what could it look like? A potential Battle Royale mode is one of the reasons that Factions being separate from single player could be a good thing, as it allows for Naughty Dog to really sink its teeth into making the mode something special. One thing that works in favor of The Last of Us Battle Royale is that the series has mechanics that are inherently good for a Battle Royale mode. From crafting and looting to melee combat options, surviving against other players in a massive Factions match seems like a logical leap for Naughty Dog to make. Incorporating features like Listen mode would only add to the experience, and the post-apocalyptic version of Seattle explored by Ellie and Abby would be a perfect Battle Royale map full of variety. And I agree. I mean, it would be kind of cool. Like the crafting and such makes sense, guys. Being able to open up or find different things on the map, whether that would be being able to hear enemies and, use different, have different loot boxes and things of that nature within, of course, the Battle Royale, not necessarily, in microtransactions. But I just think, having like Listen mode that you can get from a loot box that's within the world and different weapons and such, where you're crafting and everything, I think that would be really, it it could be really cool. I would just kind of like it to be its own mode, not necessarily a battle royale. But I get why people would be interested in that, to say the least. But look, at the end of the day, guys, Factions mode for Last of Us 2 is currently in development. And that's the biggest thing here, is that we're going to be getting multiplayer at some point or another. It's hard to say exactly when we're going to get it. I'm hoping we would get it, if not 2021, hopefully 2022. Because the longer that it goes, the more it's going to be out of people's minds, and people are going to be playing other games and things of that nature. And that's why it's such a problem with them not releasing the game fully as it was intended, with single player, multiplayer, and maybe even some co-op modes. But look, at the end of the day, guys, I'm excited about the multiplayer. I'm excited to get, once, we start hearing more information, it'll start to get my excitement going, and I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out. Let me know though, guys, where do you guys think The Last of Us Part 2 multiplayer is? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more The Last of Us Part 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.